Good morning. Good morning. Go ahead and let me know that you're here. Say hello. You can let me know where you're signing in from. It is going to be a good one today. I'm super excited. Here we are. It is a beautiful day here in Georgia. When I went and walked the dog this morning, it was a little chilly, but we are going to be experiencing some inclement weather uh, later in the week. And so I was very appreciative of the fact that the sun is shining, even though it's cold. It's a beautiful day. But to be honest with you, isn't it a beautiful day anytime, whether it's raining, snowing, icing, anything, if we're actually able to wake up and do anything in our day, right? And I'm going to just jump into this. I've been really spent a lot of time thinking about how we tend to look into the year with goals, aspirations, declarations, and all this stuff, right? And one of the things that I've really been thinking about was as I was looking back into my year of 2025 of the different things that I got to participate in. I mean, I've got my friend Christine and we've been getting together, even though we live a couple of states away. We've been getting together kind of in the middle of the two of us, where we're driving several hours to connect. And we're getting on, having coffee, we're having lunch, and we're pulling out our laptops and doing things together. And that was an experience that I would say, you know, till she and I started doing that, it never occurred to me that that was something that you could do. I know, crazy, right? And but it's been amazing. And so we're going to be talking later today, and I'm planning on, unless we're going to figure out when we're going to be able to do that in February. And as we're going into, we're more than halfway finished with January. And, when the reason I'm thinking about this a lot is because one of the things that normally happens is in November and December, people are deciding what they want their year to be like. And they create all these audacious goals. And a lot of times it's about money or it's about weight and health, right? I'm going to start going to the gym every day and I'm going to join a gym. I'm going to do all of these things. And it's because you really want to make a change in your life, right? But 90%, may even be more, I'd have to look that up, but 90% of the people who create these audacious goals for their new year have abandoned to a certain extent by this time of January. And by the time they get into February, there's even less of that goal being worked toward. And it's not that people are, lazy or they give up on everything. That's just the way the things are, because things that are audacious goals a lot of times are once and it would be nice kind of thing, but they're hard. It's not easy to do. And we tend to gravitate to the things that feel a little bit more doable and easier, if that makes sense. Even people who actually get to these audacious goals, they really typically struggle with getting there. And so, what I've been thinking about, and thank you, Jackie, for putting this into my head in a more um, um, articulate way, I guess, is that I'm looking at the past year and what were the things that really lit me up? What were the things that felt good in the making? Like I said, visiting my friend Christine halfway through, halfway. between us, right? And then we went to our other friend, Sue's, we went to her retreat center and we spent a long weekend. That was an amazing experience too. But there are other experiences like playing with my dog and taking him for walks. Those are experiences. Some of the other experiences were recently I started doing the stand up and stand out community party again. And that was, it'd been a while since I'd done one, and it was so much fun that it made me think, well, wait a minute, why did I not do that more? Because that was a fun experience. And then there's the experience of working with clients and having them have amazing epiphanies, these shifts in their life. That is an experience. Um, like I said, some of the experiences that I want for 2026 as we're here, some of the same, right? I want to experience all of those things, but I also want some new experiences. And so that's kind of what I'm wanting to talk about is these new experiences, right? I've got an affirmation and a journal prompt. All right, so our affirmation for today is I am intentionally creating meaningful experience that nourish my soul and align with who I'm becoming. Powerful, right? And remember, anything that comes after the words I am are ultra powerful. That is your mind, your subconscious mind starts looking for, how can this be true? Let me look for all the evidence. And when you word it this way, it doesn't put on the brakes because it sounds like it's not possible, right? Because it's our subconscious mind, our brain is constantly looking for evidence for the things that we think being true, and how it could go through a Rolodex of things that have happened all your life and find evidence for anything that you think that comes after I am, right? I mean, how many times have somebody, dropped something and said, oh, I'm so clumsy, right? Well, then the brain's looking for all the evidence your whole life of definite clumsiness, right? And maybe you only did it twice, but it's going to hone in on those things tremendously. So the thing we want to really be mindful of, and I talk about this a lot, is what comes after the words I am. And that's why when I was creating this morning, it was like it had to be an I am statement, because it is so important for us to be looking at our life and our year as meaningful experiences. I mean, when you think about it, if your goal is to make more money, what do you want the money for? You want it to have experiences, even if that experience is that you can get your bills paid and you can share with others. That's an amazing experience, right? So, even if it's you're wanting to lose weight, it's because you want to feel better in your body and have a longer life. Those are amazing experiences. So let's look at what are the meaningful experiences that we want in our life that would just nourish our soul and be aligned with who we are becoming, not who we are going to become. That's way out in the future. It's who we are. As we are growing and learning, we are becoming our best self. So think about it, right? So I want you to put this on your journal, your notebook, put it on your screensaver on your phone, put it on a sticky note and stick it to your fridge. Put it somewhere that today you are reminded that you are an experience being, right? And you are creating meaningful experiences. And one of the things that I'm not getting off topic, I don't think, but hey, I don't know. one of the things too is that when you think about what you're doing in your life, excuse me, and hello over on Instagram as well, and in the stand up and stand out community on Facebook and here on YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And we want to. I kind of lost my train of thought. Hold on a second. I got excited to share, and I know that's never happened to anybody else but me. Uh, oh my gosh. So where was I? I know we've got some people on here watching, and so can you tell me where was I in this conversation? Oh, what was it I was saying? Heck if I can remember. Um, the thing is that we want to be reminded throughout our day about the fact that we are creating experiences. And so you could even, oh, I know what it was, is that the experiences that we have all the time, it's not the experience that creates a lot of stuff, it's our interpretation of the experience. So, for instance, something happens that you weren't really excited that it happened because it was kind of not what you wanted. However, a lot of times things like that happen to move us into a different direction. And the thing is, like, what is the saying? God laughs when we make plans, something like that. I don't remember exactly what the saying is, but we have a limited scope of what we can comprehend that's available to us, right? And remember, we talk a lot about there's 50 billion bits of information coming at us per second from everything in our environment, because everything has a vibration. Everything has a frequency, down to my little pin right here, right? And so all of these frequencies, if you were constantly seeing all of these frequencies and every nuance of everything, you would go bonkers. And so our brain has this amazing ability to filter down to 2,000 bits per second of information that's important to us, that means something to us. And so two people can have the exact same experience, right? And one can see it as a blessing and one can see it as not a blessing because of the way their filter works. They don't even see the same things, even though they may be looking at the same thing, because they're going from their filter of everything. And so the way I really like to normally explain this, and anybody that wants to chime in, definitely chime in and let me know your thoughts. But if you've got two people sitting in a car, they're in the back seat, and they're both looking to the right side of the road, or they could be the left. It doesn't really matter. The point is that as they're driving, as they're being led down this road, they're both seeing the same thing. Yet one person notices the trees that need to be trimmed, notices the shutters that aren't looking right, notices the grass that hasn't been cut, notices the dead animal on the side of the road, notices all the things that don't look good, right? And the other person, because they have a different filter, they notice the fact that the gutters look clean. Maybe they notice the beautiful leaves or flowers in the tree and in the yard. Maybe they notice the fact that there are people laughing in the yard. Maybe they notice the sky looks beautiful. So their filter that they're walking around with is looking for things that are pleasant, right? And it doesn't mean that they have their head in the sand or anything like that. It means that their filter of life is There's good everywhere. And the other person is one of those people that's always waiting for the shoe to drop, right? They, no matter what good is happening in their life, they're going to see the thing that's not so good about it. Or they're going to be not, are feeling like it's not meant for them. So it's our filter is how we go through life. So if we're intentionally creating meaningful experiences that nourish your soul and align with who you're becoming, which filter do you want to be using, right? And we are in control of all of this. It's not the circumstances that happen in our lives. It's our interpretation, our view of the circumstances that happen in our life. Like when I first started my podcast, my very first guest was a gentleman that had diabetes and had his leg amputated from the, I think it was started with below the knee and then it was above the knee, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a while. But the thing is, that's pretty drastic, right? That's horrible. The thing is, he wasn't focusing on how horrible it was and giving himself a hard time because he didn't do the things he was supposed to do to make sure that didn't happen. No, he said it was the best thing that had ever happened to him because it changed the trajectory of his life. And he changed what he did for a living. I mean, it was amazing. And how amazing it is to have something horrific happen and you can see a good from it. That is a filter that we all want, no matter what happens. I mean, we want amazing things to happen, right? Who doesn't? The thing is that sometimes those amazing things that happen come because of an obstacle we had to overcome. And then it's kind of like you can't have the light without the darkness, right? So I am intentionally creating meaningful experiences that nourish my soul and align with who I'm becoming, right? So hold on a second. So let this be your reminder that life isn't just a checklist. It's a series of moments to feel, to explore, and enjoy, right? So what kind of moments did you have last year that you can look at and find some joy from? I just did this recently, and I shared a post about some of the things that I recognized about my year. And those were just very few little things. And if you don't look back and see some of the experiences that you had, then do you really know the experiences that you want going forward? Right? All right. So our journal prompt is, let me put it up on the screen. If I designed this year around experiences that light me up, what would I choose to feel, explore, or try? Now, that doesn't mean that they're all going to happen, right? But it does mean you can focus on the experiences and then you can backtrack from there. If you want this particular experience to happen, where do you need to be? What do you need to do? Right? And it just gives you a map in a way of where you want to go. Because with goals, you're just on task. You're on task, right? But what if you have this goal and it depletes you as you're going toward it? Is that really a goal worth pursuing or even pursuing in that way? I, for one, want to have an amazing life. I choose to have an amazing life. I have an amazing life. Could it make some tweaks and stuff? Oh, hell yeah, right? Nobody has a life that is perfect because perfect is an illusion, right? The thing is that I don't want to have a goal that takes me away from the actual life I choose and want to have, right? Which is a life of freedom, a life of joy, a life of travel. And one of the goals I've had for as long as I can remember is to leave this world better than I found it. And so it's like, if I'm looking at experiences, how does that filter in, right? How do my experiences help to get to that goal, right? Because it's a good goal, but it doesn't really mean anything. Heck, I could plant a tree and make it different than it was when I got here, right? So it's a very vague thing to be looking toward, if that makes any sense to you. So to me, I've become thinking about the experiences. And like I said, this going and meeting my friend, 2 states over, us meeting halfway, that's an amazing experience that I definitely want to keep doing this year. There's some retreats that I want to go to. There are, like, I want to go back to Sue's Wild Woods retreat. Spend some time with her. I bought one of the benches that she's putting out into the area, and I want to go and see that bench. I one of the things that I really, really want to do is I want to have enough income coming in that I can spend a good portion of money every month to help someone, whether it's an individual or whether it's a cause. I want to be able to have my philanthropy feelings actually more than just actions. I want to have some money to pump it in, right? And I love coaching and hypnosis. And so I have clients that have had amazing, amazing results. I want more of those people in my life so that I can, not that I'm looking for the pat on the back, it's always nice, but I want to be able to see that I've made a difference in these people's lives. That's some of the experiences that I want. I was making a list last night of some of the experiences that I wanted. And it's a very different thing to be listing out experience that you want versus goals, because you can get excited about experiences, right? But goals, as you get closer, sometimes it feels like, well, this wasn't very fun. All right, so I'm going to go back to the affirmation. And as I always say, get out your notebook, your journal, wherever it is that you're keeping this information, because it's amazing to have these weekly affirmations and journal prompts that we're doing to kind of give us an idea of where we are in our life, what our thoughts are, how we feel. And that's wonderful, right? But 6 months down the road, what you were thinking today is not going to feel like you would even remember, because it's a little tiny piece of your life, right? But man, oh man, when you look back at things, you can see there's a measuring stick of amazingness. The difference that you have in your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your life, your world. So it's important to write these things down so that you can look back and see, oh my gosh, how much I've grown. Look what was on my mind then and what I've accomplished since then. It's amazing, right? So that's why I ask you to put the date, the affirmation, and the journal prompt so that you can come back later and you can see what were some of the experiences that you wanted to have, and did you do it? How close did you get? How did it feel as you were getting to them? it's going to be amazing. So, all right. So, your affirmation: I am intentionally creating meaningful experiences that nourish my soul and align with who I am becoming, who I am inside, that sometimes I don't let out, right? It's always there, but a lot of times we do not let it out for fear of someone saying something and shrinking us back into our little turtle shell. And maybe that's not how you are. But a lot of people are. I have been that way many, many times. I wouldn't say certain things or do certain things because I didn't want anybody to think I wasn't smart. I didn't want people to think that I was controversial. I just didn't want anybody to have any thoughts that could be negative in any way. And so I got very quiet, especially in relationships, because I didn't like controversy. And it felt like if I said things that were on my mind, it would cause controversy. And I just didn't want it. So I would keep my mouth shut. That doesn't happen anymore. Just to let you know. All right. So you've got your affirmation written down. And remember, you've got the date at the top of the page. And then your journal prompt you're going to write down is, if I designed this year around experiences that light me up, what would I choose to feel, explore, or try? And as I always recommend, you've got this stuff written down. And then you just set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes. And you get quiet. You just focus on your breath. And you don't even have to remember what this affirmation and journal prompt is. Your subconscious and your conscious mind know it already. And so you just focus on your breath. You get quiet because there's a voice that is coming at you all the time. Your God voice, your subconscious mind, your intuition is feeding you information all the time. But most of the time, we are so busy and our thoughts are so chaotic. We're thinking about what we need to do in the yard or what we need to do next week or what we didn't do yesterday. We've got all this chatter going on in our minds that we can't really hear the divine voice that is leading us. And so that's why I say set the timer for 10 to 15 minutes and get quiet. Focus on your breath. You can count your breaths, whatever you need to do. And one of the things that helps me a lot of times is that I will have all this chatter going on too. And so suddenly I'll have this timer set and then I'll realize that I'm not thinking about my breath anymore at all. I'm thinking about what I need to do when I get finished, right? And so I have to bring myself back to the present moment. And what I do is I focus on sounds in my space. So right now I have a space heater that I can hear going over there. I can hear the hum of my computer. Occasionally I can hear a car drive by, or I can hear somebody doing something in the yards. So you just go to the sounds. And because you cannot think two thoughts at the same time. So that quiets your mind down enough that all that voice that's going on, you can finally hear it. And it may not even sound like a voice. It may be this just little idea that pops in your head. So when your timer goes off in the 10 to 15 minutes, you pick up your pen and you just brain dump and write down any thoughts that come up. Anything that came up while you were doing the 10 to 15 minutes. And since then, since you picked up your pen, because that voice is teaching you and telling you and talking to you all the time. So just write down anything that shows up, even if it sounds like it's silly, it sounds stupid, it sounds like that has nothing to do with anything we're talking about. Doesn't matter. Because a lot of times, and most of the time, it's not a literal translation. It is like the Bible is full of metaphors, right? So a lot of times it's a metaphor, it's a guide, it's something to make you think about where you need to go. So, if you designed this year, this amazing, wonderful year, around experiences that light you up, What would you choose to feel? What would you choose to explore? And what would you choose to try? Write down everything that shows up, no matter how grandiose or small. Write it down. And then you can go from there. You can look at those ideas and say, ooh, this one really feels delicious. And then just put it on a piece of paper by itself. Stick it on the wall. Maybe you can find several of those that you can put on a piece of paper. Stick it on the wall. Stick it somewhere that as you go through this year, you're reminded, oh, yes, I said I wanted to experience that. Have I experienced that yet? No. When do I want to experience that? And of course, there's a lot more to it as far as, how you make all this stuff happen. Man, oh man, if you're focused on having amazing experiences, just think of how much different your life could be focusing on experiences that you want to have. And so, by the way, I just wanted to remind you guys that I do have the school membership that you can join, which I've been doing daily belief reframes, little quick phrase things that help you to change a little bit of belief and get a little interaction with you. I have some different things in there that you can play with, which are like there's a self-hypnosis workshop. There's even a Canva workshop in there. So there's a lot of different things in there that you can play with, I guess, peruse. And you get a free week to test it out and see if it's anything that you want. And if it is, amazing. If not, no big deal, right? And also while I'm thinking about it, I did what was it? I can't remember if it was an early 25, but I had a Rewrite Your Money Story group. And Sue and I were doing that together a lot of times, right? And I'm going to wake that back up because I feel like not only do we want to design our year around experiences that light us up, we want experiences that we can also enjoy with financial acumen, right? With the ability to have more money flowing into our lives so that we can experience things in a different way, or that we can even help others experience. Like I said, one of my goals is to have enough money flowing through my hands in my life that I can bless so many others in tremendously different ways. And I don't know, that may be you too, but even if it's only for your own world, your own life, finances is one of the things that hurt most relationships and most self-esteem. So that's coming. And so I will be posting about that and giving you the information. There's already a Facebook group that we had created, and we're going to open that back up. And so if it's something that you're interested in, I'm going to post the link so you can, as soon as I've got it up, because I don't have it yet. But that's two ways that you can actually come in and experience some of this. In my school membership, which I will put the link to that because that one's all up and ready. And then for the Rewrite Your Money Story. And the people that were in it the last time it was available really had an awesome, awesome experience. So I can't wait to see you there. And I will see you next Monday. And one thing, if as you're on here right now, you can go into the group and share something that maybe you want a little bit of clarity on, or you can direct message me if there's something you want me to talk about that maybe is at the top of your mind. maybe this brought something up. Just direct message me, and let's get that on the Monday Live. And I will see you soon. And remember, life is delicious. Take every bite. Mwah.